Hello everyone, in this video I'll be going over my third F2L case. If you haven't already seen the first two, I will have annotations to those on the screen as well as links in the description below. Starting now, I will continue this series slightly differently. Instead of simply asking you which case to do next, I'm going to get the community a little more involved. So at the end of this video, I will say which case I'll be going over in the next video of this series. I'm asking you guys to do two things. First, like usual, tell me which case you'd like to see succeeding, that which I will reveal later on in this video. But in addition to that, I'd also appreciate it if you'd comment with your solution for that case. That way, in my next video, I can talk about all of the different possible solutions as well as which are most popular. I'll talk a little bit more about this at the end of this video, so for now, let's get into today's case. Alright, so here is the case that I will be going over in this video. So as you can see, this is a relatively difficult case, which is why a lot of people are asking about it. Because there are so many ways of going about this, instead of just telling you how I do it, I'll go over all of the different possibilities and exactly how you find those. So this is what I mean. To solve this case, you have to get this pair onto the top layer. Assuming that all of these are already solved, you need this up here. And of course there are multiple ways of doing this. For example, you could just do a sexy move or partial sexy move. You could do the inverse of that. You could also do a sledgehammer. Again, the inverse. And you could also do something like that. And once again, the inverse of that. So from there, you just experiment with which gives you the best case afterwards. And in all these cases, it takes 3 moves to get it to the top layer. Again, that, 3 moves. Actually, this sledgehammer takes 1 more, but again, it's relatively few moves. So now we're going to go through each of those one at a time. So we'll just start off with the sexy move. So I would usually go like that, split it up, and insert. So the inverse sexy move, something like that. This is an even worse case. I did have a video on this actually. I believe this was my first F2L case video, and this is how I do it. Again, if you want to see that, I'll have a link to that in the description below, and I'll also have an annotation right up here. So once again, just like this, gonna go like that. And it does take quite a few moves when you add it all up. So moving on, the next way to move this to the top layer is doing these 3 moves. Go like that. So this gives a pretty decent case. So you can just match this up like that. So for the inverse of this case, split these up. This gives a pretty decent case. You do have to do a cube rotation though, which is a flaw. However, it could be better if this slot in particular, that it's empty, then you can go something like this, and it's a little bit better, but you still have to do a cube rotation. Of course, you could do F's, but those are a little awkward for most people. So the next way to move this pair onto the U face is to do a sledgehammer. Just 4 moves, and this isn't a great case. For the sake of this video, I'll just be going through it quickly. Just go like that, and insert. Moving on to the inverse of the sledgehammer, there are a couple ways to perform this. Now, of course, you can move this to the side and use the L face, again like that. However, another way to do this is just doing the inverse of these moves. So that was the normal sledgehammer. So if you do the opposite, just like that, you're essentially doing it from this angle. So again, they're the same moves, just from a different angle. So let's go with this one, because this is much easier using F and R instead of F and L. So moving on, you get this case, which isn't too bad. So you split those up and then insert. Now one quick thing to know is that you do an R here and then another R to split those up. So you can do that into one move. So as an example, you can do an R2 from this position and then split those up. So for example, you go like this, then an R2, split those up, and insert. So those are the 6 simplest ways of solving this. Of course, there are differences in terms of execution. For example, instead of going like this, people might do it from a different angle like this to split it up. However, they are the same moves. You can experiment with different executions and different angles. However, since F2L is mainly intuitive, I will leave all the experimenting up to you guys. So that is all for this case. In my next video, I'll be going over case number 41, which is very similar to the one I just showed you. This is what it looks like, so leave a comment below telling me how you execute this case. So that's all for today, guys. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.